So we were on chapter 14, the three modes of material nature. Starting today at text 12, we read 11 texts, Sanskrit and translation. That way we hear the entire Bhagavad-gita in 3 months' time. All right, text 12. Loba pravritir aramba karamana dashma sriha rajasi tani jayanti vidite bharata sabaha. Translation. O chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, uncontrollable desire, hankering, and intense endeavor develop. Text 13. Aprakasho pravitischa pramamando moho devacha namasi tani jayante pridate guru nanaka. Translation. O son of Kunti, when there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, madness, illusion, inertia, and darkness are manifested. Text 14. Yada sase parvitu parayana yame deva krita tattva hitma lokam amala pratipadyate. Translation. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets. Text 15. Rajasi pralamyam kapva karma samgishu jayate tatta pavyanasastamsade buddha yajate. Translation. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. When he dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. Text 16. Pramanana shrutachashadhu sitvitam naramam phalam rajasastu phalam dukam agyanam tashma phalam. Translation. By acting in the mode of goodness, one becomes purified. Works done in the mode of passion results in distress. And actions performed in the mode of ignorance result in foolishness. Text 17. Sattat sanjyate jnanam rajasolova evacha pramada mahutasmo bhavato jnanam evacha. Translation. From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, grief develops, and from the mode of ignorance, foolishness, madness, and illusion develops. Text 18. Uram gacchati satvasa, adhyeti shakti rajasa, jayanti guna vikte shaksa, adhogati tamasha. Translation. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the mode of ignorance go down into the hellish worlds. Well, that's another reason. Don't do drugs, kids. You could end up in the hellish worlds. Whew, that's scary.
I'll show you that next time.
Oh, you're trying to set this up?
Here, we tried that one.
Nanya gunapaya karatam yadrastanupayashati gunapayascha param vati mabaram so digyajati. Translation. When you see that there is nothing beyond these modes of nature and all activities, and the Supreme Lord is transcendental to all these modes, and you can know my spiritual nature. Text 20. Gunanitan ityatrin dehi deha samubhavam janamritu jara dukar nimukta mukta ashnati. Translation. When the embodied being is able to transcend these modes, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses can enjoy nectar even in this life. Text 21. Arjuna Vacha Kalindastrin Gunasitam Translation. Arjuna inquired, O my Lord, by what symptoms as one knows who is transcendental to those modes? What is his behavior and how does he transcend the modes of nature? Text 22 through 25. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Prakasham Cha Parvitam Cha Momamiva Cha Davavishnatite Samakatati Nadakate Kankatati Budasya Gadasino Gunayona Vichakyate Gunavartanta Iti Yovetashate Niyate Samadukha Sukha Svastha Samadosha Shvakashta Tulya Priya Priyo Dhiras Stulya Vinda Vasanstuti Mahamaryo Stulyas Stulyo Mitra Vipakshayo Sarvaramba Parityagi Gunadita Sauchate. That's a long one. Translation. The Blessed Lord said, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present, nor longs for them when they disappear, who is seated in like one unconcerned, being situated beyond these material reactions and modes of nature, who remains firm, knowing that the modes alone are active, who regards like pleasure and pain, and looks on a clod, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is wise and holds praise and blame to be the same, who is unchanged in honor and dishonor, who treats friend and foe alike, who has abandoned all fruit of undertaking, and such a man is said to have transcend the modes of nature. Turning back to text 12. Translation. Report by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti-Ramana Swami Prabhupada. O chief Bhartas, when there is an increase in the modes of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, uncontrollable desire, hankering, and intense endeavor develop. Purport. One in the mode of passion is never satisfied with the position he has already acquired. He hankers to increase his position. If he wants to construct a residential house, he tries his best to have a pedestal house, as if he would be able to reside in that house internally. And he develops a great hankering for sense gratification. There is no end to sense gratification. He always wants to remain with his family and in his house and to continue the process of sense gratification. There is no cessation of this, and these symptoms should be understood as characteristic of the mode of passion. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Rama, 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 Hare. Mode of passion. I think we're at ground zero here in the United States in the mode of passion with this capitalist society that we live in. It's this freedom that we have here in this country. It's very much in the mode of passion, because we're trained from birth to want more. To do your best, to work hard. So you get the best stuff in life. You're told early on in education, you go to school, you work hard in school. That way you can get into higher education. In higher education, you can get into a really good job. And this really good job is going to get you into a really good house. This really good house is going to get you a really nice wife. This really nice wife is going to get you really nice children. And all of this, this cumulative wealth and whatnot, this is the American dream. But there's always hankering for more. Everything always feels incomplete. That's mode of passion. Always needing more. You see the modern day neighborhoods, you see a lot of times that even, people that have everything, they still compete with their neighbors. Who has the better lawn? Who has the nicer car? Whose kids are going to the better school? You see these all these things in the mode of passion. In sports is very much in the mode of passion. You know, you see all these NFL teams and basketball teams and hockey teams, and you know, everything's in the mode of passion. They're trying to get the best sports. And you know, I find it funny in the present day world that we're all walking billboards. You ever thought about that? We pay good money to buy a jersey, let's say a sports jersey of the Denver Broncos. And we wear that with pride. But we're a walking billboard for them. We're advertising the Denver Broncos, and we pay good money to advertise the Denver Broncos. Or Nike. You know, have you seen those shirts that says Nike on it? You pay good money for a nice shirt that says Nike on it. You're a walking billboard. You're advertising for free. You actually paid them to advertise for them. Walking billboards we are. It's all around us. You see shirts, you see logos, you see it everywhere. We're all walking billboards in this society. It's the mode of passion. Everywhere you go, it's like a big giant supermarket here in the U.S. You know, there's all kinds of stores to buy things at. Don't have to go too far to find a store. Sense pleasure on demand. And what happens when one gets tired of working like an ass over and over just to gratify their senses in this mode of passion, where they just finally give up and just get fed up? They fall down in the mode of ignorance, where they just don't have the desire to perform the work anymore. They just, oh boy, man, that's just too much work to keep up with all those things. I'll, you know, I'm going to beg for money and, you know, drink. Give up work. You find so many in this today's world that has taken that into the mode of ignorance. They have just given up on work, which is just too much for them anymore. Too much chasing these material desires. They do, you know, as little as possible, but they are still performing just enough work, just enough begging, just enough things to keep their senses indulged. And drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, whatnot, food. Well, you find this all across America today, all across the world. As people getting tired of the mode of ignorance. And when people getting tired of the mode of passion and falling down into ignorance. And the problem is, you know, it's awfully hard to get out of that mode of ignorance. Because it leads to madness and delusion. I worked in, you know, a hospital for some time, and it was always said, you know, if you want to find God, you know, wait long enough, he's going to come through, rolling through the ER doors. Because sure enough, you know, there's always somebody out there that's done enough drugs in their life that comes through the ER doors that thinks they're God. I remember one guy says, "They nailed me to the cross. I am Jesus." And he was, you know, I'm drawing blood on him. It's like, well, that's nice. Will you forgive me of my sins? He's like, of course, of course. But, you know, these people, it's sad. Because in this mode of ignorance, all the drugs and alcohol they're doing and just getting caught up in this, they're just going further and further into madness. Yes, Prabhu.
Were these people in their elderly ages?
No, these there's people that were young, people in their teenage years that were like this. I've seen people in their middle ages, their 30s like this. I've seen people in their 40s and 50s like this. And it all stems from the mode of ignorance, where they've been out on the streets for so long and they have partaked in so much in drugs that they eventually just lose it. They become insane. It's crazy. And then we have the mode of goodness, which is actually fulfilling in the mode of goodness, because in the mode of goodness you're not necessarily doing things for yourself. You're not necessarily serving yourself. Mode of goodness, a lot of times in mode of goodness you're acting as a nurse. You're acting as a caregiver. You're acting, you're providing. You're serving somebody else in the mode of goodness. And isn't that striking that there's actually some sense of fulfillment in not serving yourself and serving someone else? Isn't that crazy? Here's these other two, the mode of passion, the mode of ignorance. Mode of passion, you're serving yourself. You're trying to perform your best to get the best stuff, get the best sense gratification. To serve yourself, serve your family. But the mode of goodness, you're putting yourself aside and you're trying to serve others. So you find people in the mode of goodness, especially in missionary work, they find it very fulfilling. People that work in hospitals, that work in nursing, people work as doctors. They find this work actually fulfilling. Those that are actually putting people before themselves. But the most fulfilling work in the mode of goodness is bhakti yoga. That's a great fulfillment right there. Mode of goodness, you get a lot of good fulfilling, sense of fulfillment, serving others. But serving others and serving God, that's just so much more nectar, so much more fulfilling. So we move on to text 13. O son of Kuru, when there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, madness, illusion, inertia, and darkness are manifested. Purport. When there is no illumination, knowledge is absent. One in the mode of ignorance does not work by a regulative principle. He wants to act whimsically for no purpose. Even though he has the capacity to work, he makes no endeavor. This is called illusion. Although consciousness is going on, life is inactive. These are the symptoms of the one in mode of ignorance. As I was saying, the mode of ignorance is such a sad state to be in. And a lot of people fall into that state, in this material world. And a lot of it has to do with because they were in the mode of passion for too long. They got burned out in the mode of passion. Yes, Prabhu.
Sorry.
Oh, here's the microphone.
No, that's fine. I just want to make one point regarding mode of goodness, as you say that the philanthropic work, that absolutely no mode of goodness, like to do good to the others and not incurring oneself for that, not desiring for kind of gratitude. So it's a satisfactory. But Bhakti Yoga is like above this mode of goodness. It's Vishuddha Sattva. It is like beyond these three modes of nature. So and in Bhakti Yoga, this is like we connect ourselves with Lord, and that is absolute satisfactory thing like we experience.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, Guru. I understand.
Yes, Bhakti Yoga is very superior. Is Maharaj, you have something to say?
I actually wanted to say something
Oh,
because I had.
Yeah, here's the microphone.
Okay, just one second.
Make sure we get the microphone that's on the wire there.
The wire thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here, that's between you guys. Without putting a knot in it.
Stop putting it on.
Yeah, I said without putting a knot in it. Okay.
I just. Oh, what? Oh, there. One second.
Is it plugged in?
It might not be. No, it's not.
Please hold while we experience technical difficulties.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Okay.
So I thought it was interesting that you brought up this point about welfare work because Bhakta, Caleb and I were actually reading about this in the Nectar of Devotion. And I think it's chapter 2. No, I think it's chapter 1. The first chapter of Nectar of Devotion talks about this. It's the first, sorry, I keep clicking chapter 2.
You want to go with this?
No, it's okay. I'm going to use Nectar of Devotion. So, one of the things that it talks about in this chapter of Nectar of Devotion, chapter 1, it talks about how Krishna consciousness is the most auspicious activity. And there we go. I think it's. Oh, wow, there's a lot of this. Oh no, hold on. Okay, so I'm gonna go back.
Sorry.
Okay, so it says, Srila Rupa Goswami has given a definition of auspiciousness. He says that actual auspiciousness means welfare activities for all the people of the world. At the present moment, groups of people are engaged in welfare activities in terms of society, community, or nation. There is even an attempt in the form of the United Nations for World Health Activity, but due to the shortcomings of limited national activities, such a general mass welfare program for the whole world is not practically possible. The Krishna consciousness movement, however, is so nice that it can render the highest benefit to the entire human race. Everyone can be attracted by this movement, and everyone can feel the result. Therefore, Rupa Goswami and other learned scholars agree that a broad propaganda program for the Krishna consciousness movement of devotional service all over the world is the highest humanitarian welfare activity. So I just thought it was nice because that's exactly what we're talking about tonight. So that's all I have to say though.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, devotional service is the greatest fulfillment there is. It transcends the mode of goodness. You know, it's part of the mode of goodness, but it also transcends it. Let's see here. Text 14. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets. Purport. One in goodness attains higher planetary systems like Brahmaloka or Janaloka, and there enjoys godly happiness. The word Amalam is significant It means free from the modes of passion and ignorance. There are impurities in the material world, but the mode of goodness is the purest form of existence in the material world. There are different kinds of planets for different kinds of living entities. Those who die in the mode of goodness are elevated to the planets where great sages and great devotees live. As I was saying before, in this prison system that we live in this material world, in the mode of goodness, if it's not being done in devotional service, you're still a part of this prison system. It's got a nicer room. You got the gold-plated toilet. You got the wonderful foodstuffs. You got a beautiful view of from your windowsill. You got the big screen TV in your room. You got the jacuzzi. You got all that. That's going to the higher planets. So you just get a nicer jail cell. That you spend time in. Eventually, you have to come back down, back into human form again, and take your chances again. But devotional service is beyond that. Devotional service gets you out of this world. It gets you out of this material entanglement. Text 15. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And when he dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. Report. Some people have the impression that when the soul reaches the platform of human life, it never goes down again. This is incorrect. According to this verse, if one develops the mode of ignorance after his death, he is degraded to an animal form of life. From there one has to again elevate himself by evolutionary process to come again to the human form of life. Therefore, those who are actually serious about human life should take to the mode of goodness and, in good association, transcend the modes and become situated in Krishna consciousness. This is the aim of human life. Otherwise, there is no guarantee that the human being will again attain to the human status. Oh, mode of ignorance, sending you into the animal form again. That's very dangerous. That's why one should not do drugs and alcohol. It takes you into the mode of ignorance. You become an animal again. Think about today's world. Think about this, push for this legalization of marijuana all across the country. Think about how many people are now saying, it's good for you. It's medicinal. It's going to cure you. There'll be so many people. If they don't get into Krishna consciousness, and they're getting lost in this world of drugs, they're going to be finding themselves going back down into animal form again, and having to spend time in animal form. And who knows how long you have in that time, because, as I was said many times before, the human birth is rare. There's more than enough animal forms out there. Just the form of the ant. There's 40 quadrillion of them estimated on Earth. There's only 8 billion humans. That's just one of the 8,400,000 species out there. So it's very, very dangerous to fall into the mode of ignorance and get a body of an animal, because, my gosh, who knows when you will be able to come back as a human. It could be a very, very long time. Who knows how many yuga cycles you could go through in animal form. That could be a long, hellish time. That's why it's the Harinam is so important, because we're giving all these animal forms, these other forms of life, a chance, a fast pass back to God, back to the human form of life. Text 16. By acting in the mode of goodness, one becomes purified. Work done in the mode of passion results in distress, and actions performed in the mode of ignorance result in foolishness. Purport. By pious activities in the mode of goodness, one is purified. Therefore, the sages who are free from all illusion are situated in happiness. Similarly, the activities in the mode of passion are simply miserable. Any activities for material happiness is bound to be defeated. Any activity for material happiness is bound to be defeated. Remember that. If, for example, one wants to have a skyscraper, so much human misery has to be undergone before a big skyscraper can be built. The financier has to take much trouble to earn a mass of wealth. And those who are slaving to construct the building have to render physical toil. The miseries are there. Thus, the Bhagavad-gita says that in any activity performed under the spell of the mode of passion, there is definitely great misery. There may be a little so-called mental happiness. I have this house or this money, but this is not actual happiness. As far as the mode of ignorance is concerned, the performer is without knowledge. And therefore, all of his activities result in present misery. And afterwards, he will go on toward animal life. Animal life is always miserable. Although under the spell of illusionary energy, Maya, the animals do not understand this. Slaughtering poor animals is also due to the mode of ignorance. The animal killers do not know that in the future the animal will have a body suitable to kill them. That is a law of nature. In human society, if one kills a man, he has to be hanged. That is the law of state. Because of ignorance, people do not perceive that there is a complete state controlled by the Supreme Lord. Every living creature is a son of the Supreme Lord, and he does not tolerate even an ant being killed. One has to pay for it. So indulgence in animal killing for the taste of the tongue is the grossest kind of ignorance. A human being has no need to kill animals because God has supplied so many nice things. If one indulges in meat eating anyways, it is to be understood that he is acting in ignorance as making his future very dark. Of all kinds of animal killing, the killing of cows is most vicious because the cow gives us all kinds of pleasure by supplying milk. Cow slaughter is the act of the grossest type of ignorance. In the Vedic literature, the words Gobhi Pranita Matsarvam indicate that one who, being fully satisfied by milk, is desirous of killing a cow, is in the grossest ignorance. There is also a prayer in the Vedic literature that states, Namo Brahmanaya Devaya Govamana Vitayacha Krishna Govindaya Namo Namaha. My Lord, you are the well-wisher of the cows and the Brahmana, and you are the well-wisher of the entire human society. The purport is that the special mention is given to the prayer for the protection of the cows and the Brahmana. Brahmanas are the symbol of spiritual education, and the cows are the symbol of the most valuable food. These two living creatures, the Brahmanas and the cows, must be given all protection. That is the real advancement of civilization. In modern human society, spiritual knowledge is neglected and cow killing is encouraged. It's to be understood, then, that human society is advancing in the wrong direction and clearly the path to its own condemnation. A civilization which guides its citizens to become animals in their next lives is certainly not a human civilization. The present human civilization is, of course, grossly misled by the modes of passion and ignorance. It is a very dangerous age, and all nations should take care to provide the easiest process, Krishna consciousness, to save humanity from the greatest danger. So here again, falling down into that dangerous cycle of birth and death, in the mode of ignorance, going back into animal form again. So dangerous. But so many people are running towards that. So many people have found themselves in the mode of ignorance. They got burned out in the mode of passion for too long, trying to chase after their material desires, and they get burned out, and now in the mode of ignorance, they just don't want to work anymore, and they want to indulge in drugs and alcohol and just do the bare minimum just to get by, just to be numbed out in life. They're destined to be in animal form again. These are the ones that we really have to reach out to. These are the ones that are destined, as I was saying, to be reborn as an animal. These are the ones that are hurting the most in our society. So it's very important, to get the Maha Mantra out there, go out on Harinams, to get book distribution out there. To get prasadam out there. Prasadam is so important. They may be in the mode of ignorance, now in this lifetime, because of the results of being burned out by too much in the mode of passion. A little prasadam might give them a chance to be reborn as a human in a family of pious people. Give them that chance to be put in the mode of goodness. Any questions or comments so far? Yes, Prabhu.
So we were just talking about reaching out to these people who are in the mode of ignorance. So does that also include the people who are doing drugs and they still have jobs and they still have families and houses and cars? Does it still apply to them too, or does it mean is it only the homeless people? Because homeless people are actually really hard to reach out to.
Yeah. The ones who are still working and are doing drugs, they're in the mix. They're in the mix of passion and ignorance. They still have enough passion in them to keep on going. But they're falling into ignorance when they're doing alcohol and drugs. And eventually it's going to catch them. It's eventually, it's one of those things that, if they're not careful, they'll fall all the way into ignorance, all the way into homelessness, all the way into that mode that just do enough just to get by. So you can have these mixed modes of nature. You could have a little bit of mixture of the mode of goodness and ignorance. These two things fighting with each other. Or you're working really hard, but at the same time you're putting, you're giving some of your wealth out to charity. Just to feel good about it. Yes, probably.
So, I'm just wondering that yeah, Hare Krishna. So I'm just wondering that as you said that it is mode of goodness and passion and ignorance, they are the senses, our senses, whatever perceivable things of the senses, which all are bound us in all these three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So yes, it is like some of them having 60-70% of goodness and having 20-30% of passion and ignorance, like that. So these modes are intermingle, and it just compete each other in ourselves. But if we engage ourselves in devotion, then this all the karmas which never bounces, Like if we offer our food, because Krishna says, whoever eat just food without offering me, rather if it is a mode of goodness food, then also it bounds us in the karma, us in different modes. But if we offer those foods to the Krishna, it becomes prasadam, and then it purifies us. Prasadam can purify the entire world, like whoever the sinful person it is, it purifies us. So yeah, that's one point. And second point is that here Srila Prabhupada mentioned that apart of this ignorant things like marijuana and all the drugs and everything, apart of that, the meat eating is so sinful, and it definitely bound. It's a very gross level of ignorance. And some religious and philosophical understanding, they says that we can eat animals because they don't bear pain, and they perceive pain. It is well understood by science, and it is like the arguments is sometimes like you also eat plants, and you also, the plants is also bearing the soul, so you also killing the plant body as well. So yeah, it is that the jive jivasya bhojanam, we have to eat for surviving. But there is three modes: the mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance, food. And that is also like the body which is like the plant body is a very gross type of body they are having. Comparison to the animals. Animals feel pain, feel all the emotions. And if someone cuts the leg of cow or goat, then it will not grow. But the plant, we just eat some parts of the plant. So
Maharaj has a comment. Oh, okay. Well, Maharaj has a comment here. Oh.
1 second, Gurudev. Okay, we can hear you now. 1 second. I gotta adjust this tripod. Okay, we can hear you now. Yes, Gurudev.
Not only does it plants, new plants, and things that we comforting, there's a difference. And the most important aspect is that Krishna is in charge of the whole everything. So he arranges for each species has foodstuffs. That's its quota. The lion eats meat. He's not held responsible for unnecessary killing. That's his quota. But if a human eats meat, that's not his quota, according to the Vedic scriptures. Sometimes he's allowed to eat animal flesh, but only on special occasions, very restricted. And if one eats other than that, then he has to suffer greatly for that. So, aside from the fact that eating animals is different than eating plants, if Krishna wanted the devotees to eat animals, he would have said so. He didn't. And he said that it's okay to eat Pacham Pushpam, Palam Jayam, Amipakcha Prachit, Talam Pacham, Shnami Pacham. Flower or grains. And with love and devotion, she says, I accept it. So the difference here is not just plant or animal, but what the Lord says. He says, if you take these things that I have given to me in devotion, that means plants and grains and fruits, then there'll be no reaction for you. As I said,
Taking. And looks like that is our time for today. Bhagavad-gita ki jai.
Bhagavad-gita ki jai.
This way it sounds good.
That one actually, I don't think that one works. I have my doubts about that. He said, oh god, I can't remember all of it. I can't even remember a little bit. He was saying that, he said that, animals in the animal kingdom, God provides for all of their needs, like food and shelter and water. He said like a lion's quota is to eat meat, but that's not the quota for